This Soho temple, that's it, never coming back. Okay? Yes, I am doing an imitation, a real life imitation that has happened. It does happen, right? So if we're more sensitive, we'll say, no problem. You know, you're busy, no problem. We'll do it tomorrow. Or I can do it. It's okay. I'm not God. I can wash my own dhoti. Isn't it? And I know people from the outside, if we don't act that way, will think something's wrong with us. Why are you giving this guy a hard time? He's busy. So wash your clothes. Why don't you wash it? That's how normal people would think, wouldn't they? So, we have to we have to understand ourselves within context. But sometimes we may be, I don't want to say not normal, but for lack of a better word, not normal. So being insensitive sometimes. We have insensitivity sometimes to the way we deal with certain people, races, genders, and we need to be, it doesn't build community to be insensitive. Do you know, if I give a lecture, you asked me to give Bhagavatam class, and I give a lecture and I demean a certain race or gender, that doesn't help them. It's insensitive, right? Because it's not going to help them in their spiritual life. So sometimes we have to speak on a verse which says things like, these people are bad, these people are less intelligent, this and that. And you have to present it in a way that those people are inspired. I actually had to do that about a week ago. And it was a great challenge. And I think I pulled it off. But I was very sensitive that I didn't want to discourage anybody. And I said, I think that's important. And part of working in a community that everyone feels inspired. And nobody should say things that would discourage or make people feel that they're lower or less or worse. You agree? And so these are real life problems that we face. Insensitivity is very, very common. And I think a temple president who has people in his temple who are very sensitive to the pressures of his job would find his job much easier than a group of people who are like, why do you do this and why didn't you do that? Isn't it? Would you like to be temple president with a group of people who are always saying, why didn't you do this and why didn't you do that? No, of course not. You'd rather have a group of people saying, how can I help you do this and how can I help you do that? So if you put yourself in his place, you'll be better able to serve, I think. And if he puts himself in your place, he'll be better able to serve you. You agree? So I think there's like incredible value in that statement. And in the research they did, they applied these principles in the military, and the military was so much more effective. The platoons were so much more effective when they practiced being sensitive to, and being sensitive means they could feel what other people needed. And there's a story where they won a battle that they should have lost because they had this dynamic amongst them. Okay. Is that okay? Is that more than okay? Is that super okay? So, realizations or questions or comments? Yes.
While we were discussing our problems in cooperating, etc.,
yeah.
One of the solutions, common solutions, were like humility.
Okay.
We don't understand our position, so how to always remain like humble and.
The question is how to remain humble?
Yeah.
Well, how did you define humility in the context of cooperation? Did you define it in terms of practical actions you could do?
Well, basically, sometimes you just think you know it all, so you don't want to listen to anybody else.
Yeah. Yeah. You know it all, so you don't want to listen, and you think whatever they're saying is stupid or useless, or they don't know what they're talking about. Yeah, you know better, okay. Which may be true. Which even makes it more difficult, right? Now, you may be wrong, but you may be right. And, you know, you may have a PhD in what he's talking about, and he's never made it out of high school, and you do know more, which makes it even more difficult, right? I can express to you how I deal with it. The first step is, this is what's happening right now. Like, this person is making decisions for something that he's not as qualified to make as other people. And it's just an acceptance. This is like, right now, at this moment, this is happening. I don't agree with it, but it's happening, and I have to deal with it. And I don't know if this is true outside of ISKCON, but I have seen often, somehow or other, the best people the people most qualified to do something are not always the ones asked to do it. Have you seen that? Have you noticed? Has anybody noticed that? I don't know if it's a Murphy's Law or what. And just another funny story. There was a devotee whose profession was to make signs. And he's made these beautiful signs, and all the temples would order signs. And he lived as a brahmachari, but that's what he did. And he made signs for all these temples. And the only temple he didn't make a sign for was the temple he lived in. Isn't that interesting? So like sometimes you'll have a devotee who is like a corporate trainer teaching management, you know, to Google and Yahoo and you know, but he comes to the temple and they never ask him. That happens. I mean, that does happen. You know, it's just, and it's kind of like, I don't know, maybe it's Mahatma's Law or Murphy's or somebody's, but I've noticed that. So I think when those things happen, sometimes you just have to go, it's happening again. And if you want to deal with it, you might humbly present your PhD diploma to the temple president and say, you know, if you think I could help, I have a PhD in this topic, or I worked, you know, for 10 years in this field. If there's anything you'd like me to do, I'm happy to help. That's humility in that situation. You don't come in, this guy, he doesn't know what he's talking about, just give it to me, I know what I'm doing. That's not the how. It's not the Vaishnava, you know, it's like, I have, you know, a degree, I'd be happy to help, you know, I know this really well if you'd like me to do it. And then you have